All right, let's get right into a story that is going to keep analysts busy for years. The absolute head of the Iranian regime is taken out in a targeted strike. The whole world is holding its breath, expecting the entire system to just crumble. But what actually happened? Well, it was something else entirely. We're going to break down how the machine managed to outlive the man.
And that's the big question, right? This is the central puzzle. We are looking at one of the most incredible and honestly kind of terrifying examples of political survival in recent memory. So how on earth did they do it?
So think about the disconnect here. The expectation, the playbook said, a strike like this should cause total paralysis, chaos. But the reality? Within just a few hours, a massive, fully coordinated military response was launched. I mean, that just wasn't supposed to be possible.
To really get why everyone was so stunned, you got to understand the thinking behind the attack in the first place. The whole strategy was based on a classic, almost textbook military theory.
You have to remember, for 36 years, that's a long time. Everything, and I mean everything, flowed through one guy, Ayatollah Khamenei. He had the final say on foreign policy, the military, the incredibly powerful IRGC, the clergy. The whole state was basically built around him as the central pillar. And that is the whole idea behind a decapitation strike. The logic is pretty straightforward, right? You take out that single, crucial point of decision-making and you send the entire system into shock. You create a power vacuum, you cause chaos, and you just watch it fall apart. That was the theory. And it completely failed.
The very first sign that everyone had fundamentally miscalculated the situation, well, it showed up almost immediately. Iran's response did not look like it was coming from a headless state. Not at all.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It's insane. The strike happens. Within 2 hours, the IRGC is already broadcasting warnings to ships in the Strait of Hormuz. By hour 4, they're launching Operation True Promise IV with hundreds of missiles and drones flying. This is the opposite of chaos. This is a well-oiled machine kicking into gear.
So let's be absolutely clear here. A regime that's been successfully decapitated does not act this way. This kind of speed, this level of coordination, it screams that a continuity of government plan was already being activated. So the question becomes, who was giving the orders?
Right. If Khamenei's gone, somebody has to be calling the shots. And the person who stepped out into the public view was a very, very careful choice, designed to project stability.
And this is where a guy named Ali Larijani steps onto the stage. He is a regime lifer. Former parliament speaker, former nuclear negotiator. He's politically connected, he's got diplomatic experience, and crucially, he's trusted by the military establishment, especially the IRGC. He was the perfect break glass in case of emergency public face.
But, and this is the most important part, you really got to get this, he didn't become the new supreme leader. That's a whole formal process that takes time. No, instead, he took on a functional role, what people are calling the de facto leader. He was the public spokesman for an emergency response.
Because the theory that's emerging is that Larijani was basically the front man. The real decisions, the engine that powered that lightning-fast military response, came from an informal emergency committee, a junta really, almost certainly led by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC.
And this brings us to the absolute core of why the whole decapitation strategy failed. It wasn't just about having one guy ready to step up. It's about the very design of the Iranian state itself. It's baked into the system.
See, the Islamic Republic's secret weapon, in a way, has always been its redundancy. It's built with all these parallel, overlapping institutions that are actually designed to compete with each other. You've got the IRGC and the regular army, the Artesh. You've got the Basij militia. You've got all these different councils and clerical bodies. It's like a hydra. This internal competition isn't efficient in peacetime, but it makes the system incredibly resilient. You cut off one head and another one is already there, ready to take over.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. The system proved it was more durable than its leader. And a system that can absorb a shock like that, well, it's way more formidable, because now it's shown that it doesn't have a single point of failure you can easily exploit.
So you might be thinking, okay, maybe they just got lucky. Maybe it was a well-organized but still improvised response. Well, there's one final piece of evidence, a smoking gun, that ties this all together and proves this was anything but luck.
This is the clincher. At the exact same time as the physical strikes, huge cyber attacks knocked out Iran's internet. That is a critical detail. It means whatever coordination was happening, it wasn't happening on WhatsApp or email or normal phone lines.
Think about what that means. The decisions, the launch orders, all the political maneuvering, it was all being done the old-school way. We're talking secure military radios, dedicated landlines, and face-to-face meetings inside hardened bunkers. To pull that off seamlessly while you're under attack, that takes a whole other level of preparation. And that leads you to only one single, inescapable conclusion. This wasn't improvisation. They had practiced this. They had run drills for this exact scenario.
It's clear the regime had a playbook for this exact eventuality. They knew this was a vulnerability, so they anticipated the threat, they pre-assigned who would do what, they built out chains of command that didn't rely on the internet, and then they war-gamed it until it was muscle memory. So when the unthinkable actually happened, they weren't scrambling to come up with a plan, they were just executing the one they already had.
So at the end of the day, the whole decapitation strategy was doomed from the start. It was an idea aimed at killing a person, but what it actually hit was a system. A system that was specifically designed with redundancy and resilience and a pre-rehearsed survival plan. The strikes may have taken out the leader, but in doing so, they proved just how durable the regime really is. And that leaves us all with a really chilling question. With no single person to target, what does a conflict even look like against a system that you can't decapitate?